Here it is. Blah. All right.
Hey guys, it is Monday. It is 5 o'clock somewhere in Central Texas. It's 5 o'clock, and it's time for After Hours Real Estate. I'm Chris Pesek, broker associate at Pesek Properties, Dripping Springs home
Right.
team.
And this one is
This,
driven by at least partially by Auto GPT.
oh, that's right. That thing's about to fall, so I'm going to just hold this from now on. This is my buddy Stevie Ray Babcock, mortgage loan originator extraordinaire at CMG Financial, and evidently an AI guru at this point.
You inspired me. I cannot believe you got it working. And I, for the third time, attempted it and got it working.
Oh, you finally got it installed?
Rather, it took me 9 hours, I think, to really. I got it installed in like 3, and then it doesn't work because you have to, you ask it to do something, and it says no problem, I can do all of that, and then it starts and it says error, and you're like, crap. Okay, well, I got to install you and get you installed, and I don't know what you are, so let's learn about you. And then it's like 9 hours later, I'm having it do basic stuff. 3 days later, I'm still installing other things and adding it to it. But today I managed to get an add-on for email working, and had it do some research for us on what's going on in the market, and then send the email to both of us.
And I got the email, and that was a trip.
Yeah, dude, it was great.
I knew you got it at that point.
It went to my draft folder, so it's not being sent out when I say send. It saves it as a draft for me to review later, which is smart now. But long story short, again, that's another thing where you get it set up, and it's like, okay, I will, but won't, and it's but still, everything you tell it to, it's just I'm telling it somehow not to, and I got to figure it out. But AI,
so we've gone down a rabbit hole before we actually do what we do. So guys, this show is all about mortgages and real estate and economics and drinking alcohol. So
right, the stuff we talk about at the bar, basically, right? Yeah.
What's that?
The stuff we talk about at the bar, basically, right?
Stuff we would talk about if we were sitting at the bar. And speaking of sitting at the bar, today I am at a convention, and I had to convince the people at the bar to give me a whiskey in a cup that I could take outside. So this is what I'm drinking.
In the car.
In the car, in the parking lot. I'm going back into the convention after this.
Do you have the keys with you?
I have the keys with me.
I think technically, if they're outside the car, that might be a loophole. Like if you put them on the front tire, like no matter what, sir, I wasn't able to.
I'm not moving, and I'm going back in after this.
Something tells me you're going to be okay, but I think probably that's not okay. But yeah, all right. Moving on.
It could be a story for next week. What can I say?
It's not a lending problem, so we are okay with this. Moving on.
What are you drinking, my friend?
Yeah. Furthermore, you're not even in Texas, right?
Right.
I am drinking a Ying-a-Ling.
Oh, Ying-a-Ling. Cheers.
Cheers. Yingling. For those of you that.
Oh, man. So where do we want to start today? Do we just want to let this be an entirely AI-driven conversation?
Why don't we see? Watch we get more comments as a result. Let's do it. Let's go into it.
I mean, seriously, like, okay, guys, and that's a good point. Let us know what you want us to talk about. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, if you think AI is great, if you think AI is dumb, if you have no idea what AI can do, that's always fun stuff to talk about. So let's go into what AI emailed me.
So the first thing that AI was telling us that we need to be aware of for our show tonight is that homeowners are not selling due to high mortgage rates.
Not selling due to high. He didn't say that buyers aren't buying.
Right. They just said they're not selling. And what's funny to me is that you sent me an article this morning about how prices are going up. And that doesn't happen when people are desperate to sell, right?
And it doesn't happen when nobody's buying. So, and that's a creepy thing, because I saw that, and when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute. I thought Chat GPT, which is what Auto GPT is based on, I was like, is it really reading all this stuff in real time? And it is.
Yeah. So that's the thing about Auto GPT, is that it scans the internet and gives you real-time updates on everything. The Chat GPT is cut off. I believe I know it's 2021, but I think it's February
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah.
So, you ask it something about the mortgage market and it says rates are great, because it thinks it's February of 2021. It's
Yeah.
just totally wrong right now.
Well, and so that's a weird thing. Like I read that article and sent it to you this morning, and it was Case-Shiller Index came out, and Altus Research, who I follow, and Mike Simonson, who that article was from. It's a trip because as you read it, and this is what AI or Auto GPT was referring to, there's inventory. We've got inventory, but it's not enough inventory, and it's not the right kind of inventory. So Mike Simonson has been saying for like 2 months now, we need more inventory, and then houses will start selling. But it wasn't that we didn't have any. We just didn't have what people wanted to buy.
I mean, look, I'm doing the mortgages.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that I did a mortgage for somebody just the other day, and I mean their payment is $6,000 a month. And
for a $500,000 house?
Actually, way more than that. They were 800 credit scores. I mean, top tier. If I would have sold them that home, I would have done the financing for that same priced house a year ago. Maybe 2 years ago. They would have been in the 3 range. Maybe 3,800, something like that, and not 6,000. It's not quite
and
half.
compound that with what taxes are doing. It compounds.
If you have that homestead exemption on your house, it limits the taxes from going up, and you got that really low interest rate, and it's just, man, once moving seems like a great idea. I've had a few past clients come to me and say, "Hey, we want to move. Our home's worth a bunch more. Let's move on." And I do the numbers for them, and I show them what the new payment's going to be, and they compare it to their old one, and they're like, "Sorry, Steve, we're just going to stay right here." Okay, yeah, sorry.
I've had that conversation a lot, but again, it's right now with more inventory, prices are going up.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I'm not gonna be a braggart over here, but I mean, I know at least 2 guys that have been preaching this for probably 5 months now.
What, the prices are going to go up or down?
That they're going to go up.
I know a couple guys too.
Yeah. And we were begging people to buy houses in December and January for this reason.
Right.
For this reason. Anyway, not going to brag. Because as soon as tomorrow the houses it'll plummet. No, it won't. It's not going to.
Talk to those guys. They might help. They might help the viewership of our show if we had them on. Maybe we should talk to them.
Yeah, it could help. So all right, there you go. So ChatGPT is 1 for 1.
Moving on to the next topic that it told us to talk about. Let me check the comments here, see if anybody's said anything yet. Nothing.
No, nobody has said anything yet. Everybody's like, yes, ChatGPT and AI is amazing, and you guys just keep rocking. Come on, guys, help us out.
It's telling me that the average mortgage rate is 6.92%.
I don't think that was accurate.
Yeah, now I'm allowed to say that out loud as long as I have some.
That feels. Right? I'll say it. That feels high based on what I've seen from you recently.
The problem with saying the average 30-year mortgage rate.
Look, our viewership is so knowledgeable about this. They know what you're going to say right now. Go for it.
It's just, first of all, at what credit score? At what down payment? At what part of the country? No joke, right? And what kind of
down payment assistance program?
Right. What program are we using? And what property are we buying? Are you buying a condo? Are you buying a high-rise condo? A home that looks like a condo, they call a condo, really should be a single-family home? Yep. Right? A site condo, a detached condo, attached condo, or how about a house? Are we buying a house? Are we buying what kind of house? What if it's a duplex? There's so many different options there that affect the rate. To say that the average rate, there's going to be some average, but it doesn't really tell you anything, right?
Yeah.
Furthermore, that average can change every few minutes, right? Based on what in the world the bond market is doing. So, reality is, take it with a giant salt mine, okay, not a pinch of salt. And I would what I like more than average is range.
Range is better because you can factor in interest rates. I mean, I'm sorry, credit scores and stuff like that with ranges.
Sure. the lender that I originally learned from to get into the industry would never tell anybody the rate. And he had multiple reasons for that. And it wasn't sleazy, but honestly, there were a lot of, I want to say so, but it wasn't sleazy. But the
It's
bottom line is that instead of saying 6.92%, right? Which engineers will just grasp onto and never forget, right? You would say, well, they're in the very high sixes, maybe even low sevens for great credit scores. And if you want to buy I'm sorry, I'm sorry, for lower end, right? You'd say, I'm opposite here. You would say, 6.92 is basically 7%, right? So I would say
yeah,
high to low sevens, right? So I'm sorry, low sevens to high sixes. And if you've got a really, really great score, you can plus or minus one from there, right? And I've just been really vague. What do you mean high sixes, low sevens? What is that exactly? Plus one. Okay, but at least you have a range now.
yeah. Like you,
Right?
and realistically, man, I personally feel like that's what should be required of lenders.
Yeah,
Be-
and if you want to get a real rate, I will give you your rate, which comes with a hard credit pull. If you don't want to do a hard credit pull, I know other lenders I can send you to that will do a soft credit pull. Do I want to?
Yeah,
Hell no. I work commission, but I will. I
yeah,
will. I always want to do the right thing. I would rather you stick with me, but I'm not going to talk you into it. I'll be
right.
honest.
Yep. All right. So right now, Auto GPT is 1 for 2 in my eyes.
Yeah, I didn't
It's
really like that
batting
one either.
500.
Okay,
It's
next.
batting 500. Okay. What's
Next
the third?
is
third?
changes to mortgage fees coming next month.
That was 7 days ago, Chat
That was
GPT.
7 days ago, and we talked about it, two shows ago, I believe. So,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
that's a fail. That's a fail on
one,
the Auto GPT, on the Chat
one
GPT.
for 3. Look, that's still a Hall of Fame career at batting 333.
I
What's
guess.
number 4?
Number 4, Fed rate hike may not affect mortgage rates. I actually like this one.
Yeah, because we've seen how many Fed rate hikes since the beginning of the year? 4 or 5? And they're
About one a
talking about
month. So, yeah,
potentially another one?
I really like this one, because people hear, "Oh, man, the Fed's raised, hiked rates again." Man, man, mortgages are gonna just be terrible. No, actually, the last few rate hikes haven't done anything really to the
You know,
mortgages.
I got a message from a client that said, "Oh my God, can you please call blank builder and find out, because my friends just told me that interest rates went up 25 points or 25 basis points, a quarter of a point."
Right.
And you know what happened. It wasn't that, because people don't understand, right? The
Well,
base rate went up a quarter of a point, 25 basis points, did not affect mortgage rates.
though, to really understand this stuff, you have to understand what the Fed is, what their purpose is, how money works, which that is not as simple as what I just said. It's not I give you a dollar and buy something and you get a dollar, right? You also have to understand how the banking system works and then where money goes. And by money, I mean governmental money and billionaire money, right?
Yeah,
Not millionaire money, but like
not our money.
big money, right? Like we're making trillion in interest this year, and it's so much it's going to move the whole market. So we need to shift our money someplace else. So we're not a market mover, kind of crap like that, right?
Yeah,
Um,
because if you're a market mover, you get thrown in jail.
right. Or kind of, but at the end of the day, there's a lot to it than the simplicity of all this, right? So,
Yeah,
I would just say, boil it down. You just call your lender and say, "What are the rates today?" It's
yeah,
a lot easier.
yeah.
And there's really no good time to buy, honestly. When the rates were fantastic, they were, two point something percent. At least in the Austin area, you had to show up with $100,000 extra, wait in line outside the door with your mask on, right? And it was just a nightmare. And then you were one of many, 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 many different offers. People started getting into trouble for sending letters like, "Hey, me and my family would like to get in there." Just
Dude,
now
I'm
you're sending
telling you,
personal
man,
information. It's not even.
I'm so glad you just said that, because and I didn't know where you were going with it, but when you explained it, I'm like, yeah, there's not a good time to buy, because
No,
when times are
never.
good, it's hard.
Right.
And when times are like they are now, it's hard.
Easy, but it's hard. Yeah. No, so right now you could be one of one offer now. You don't
Yeah,
have to highball
you
it. You
can
can
be
be
one offer on a property that's been on the market for 185 days.
right. You can lowball them, right? You just have to take a high interest rate.
Yeah,
But let
yeah,
me ask you, is a higher payment better than having to bring $100,000 extra over asking price?
absolutely,
I think so
100%.
too.
Look, I would rather have $100,000 put into an account that's doing something, or that's another property or something, a hard asset, which we talked about last week. That's fine. I don't care. I'll buy multiple assets. I'll pay the higher interest rate. I mean, I did it. We've got 2 investment properties with friends. The first one was 3.5% interest. The second one's 6. I don't care. I don't care.
You just have to make the numbers work.
Yeah,
Period.
if the numbers work, the numbers
Math.
work.
It's mathematics.
And math is not hard. This is what was the my wife and I were in Bryan College Station this weekend, and there's a bar that had a sign outside and it said, "It's not Euclidean geometry, it's a beer." And I kind of felt like that was pointed at me.
That's awesome.
So anyway, all right. So Chat GPT is 2 for 4.
Yeah, it is.
What's the next one?
Let's see now. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth and last one of the main talking points.
Yes.
Says high credit score borrowers penalized under new federal mortgage fee plan, which is exactly what we just talked about on number 3, which
Yeah.
was late and we already talked about.
Old
However,
information.
fine. Yeah. What I can't stand about that generated headline, right, was that, 'cause it's really what these are, was that if you actually look at the fees associated with mortgage lending and people's credit scores, the higher your score, the less you pay is still true.
That's right. And you and I went into great depth on that
Yeah.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. The adjustments were severe. And if we want to talk about just the adjustments, then yeah, okay, great. Fine. Your argument's great.
And that's
But
what they
overall,
sold headlines on, and that's what everybody lost their shit about.
okay,
Yeah.
now let's talk about these additional talking points that AutoGPT came up with.
Okay, so wait a minute. Right now, the base talking points, AutoGPT is batting 400, which is a Hall of Fame Ted Williams career.
It's pretty fantastic, except if I came up with a 400 score in my job, I'd be fired. So that's too bad.
That's a fair point.
We'll get better at this next time. I'll redo the algorithm. All right. So next, additional talking point: mortgage industry trends. The mortgage industry is expected to grow at a CAGR. CAGR. I don't know what that is. I've seen that before. I can't remember what it is though. Of 7.1% from 2021 to 2028. Now that bothers me because it's saying 2021, which makes me feel like it's completely old information.
I don't know what the hell that means.
Then the next one says impact of COVID-19 on the mortgage industry. What?
Old
Did we just
information.
finish that? The pandemic has led to a surge in refinance activity, with many homeowners taking advantage of low interest rates.
Now, look, that's true.
No, it's not.
When was your best refinance period ever?
Oh. Sorry. That's true if we were talking in the year 2021. Yes.
Right. But
And
here's what I want to point out about it. We're just talking about how and so I'm going to call this one a push, because we were just talking about how there's so many sellers right now that have such a great situation because they refied during COVID that they are not putting their properties on the market. They're not moving. So it's still relevant now, and at least in my mind, I think that's a push.
the impact of COVID-19 on the mortgage industry is what we're talking about here.
Correct.
Tell me this isn't from the past. You're saying this is present day.
Oh, it's from the past, but it's still relevant,
Okay.
because you can't tell me that all those 2.5% interest rates that you gave out in 2020 and 2021 are not coming back to affect people not buying something else's right now.
Yeah. And today I've advised a few people not to do a refinance and instead to get a HELOC.
Yeah, I mean,
if they have to. But long story short is don't get rid of your low rates. That's just dumb.
no,
Don't do it.
not at
If
all.
you need me to tell you in mathematical terms, give me a call. I'll do it. I won't talk you into using me, especially if I'm telling you not to do it, right? So
keep your house. Keep your house. Hey, Steve, hang on for 1 second. I'm gonna pop Gary on. Gary's an inspector that I've used for a long time. He's got a Austin Property Inspections here in Austin. And so he said, hey, I've had 2 inspections in the last week that are 1031s. And he was asking if we'll talk specifically about 1031. So I'm gonna point something out about that, because what were you and I talking about last week? People moving money into hard assets and actually trading up, which is what a 1031 is, selling one property, buying something that's more valuable, and deferring your taxes on that. So Gary, I don't know exactly what you want. Well, Gary knows.
We're happy to talk about it, Gary. You got to be more specific, though.
For those of you what I was going to say is, let's do this from a high level. Steve, do you do 1031 purchases on your side? Can you do that?
I can do them. It's rare that I run into them, though, because a 1031 exchange is when you buy an investment property. Really is when you sell it. But so you've bought the property, you own it. Now you're going to sell it and buy another investment property and delay paying the taxes on the sale of the first investment property. Which is extremely intelligent, or beneficial rather, when you're investing. However, it can be difficult to continue buying single to 4-family homes, which is what I specialize in. If it's more than 4 families, I can't help you. So typically, you'd go from a 1 to a 2 to a 4 to like a 10-family, kind of unit. I can't help there, but I can certainly help with some of it.
One thing that people have to understand about a 1031, and I'm sure people have heard about it. The key is, and this is what Stephen's alluding to, is that you can't buy a property that's at less value. You have to scale your value up. Let's say you're selling something at 500, you have to buy something that's more valuable.
Right. You can't buy it for.
Right. Exactly.
Now, so I think is there a way for me to buy 2 of them at 4?
You can split it the way I understand it and buy multiple.
It's been a while.
This is a good time to point out, I am not a 1031 strategist, nor am I a 1031
the truth is, it's probably been 7 years since I've helped someone with a 1031 exchange. I'm happy to, but I'd have to refresh myself a little bit on it. But I'll tell you what I really want to say that I won't finish saying. But for those watching, look up the 1031 exchange loophole. There is a way to legally get out of paying the taxes at the end of a 1031 exchange.
There is, but you have to die.
No, you don't.
Oh, then maybe I need to look up the 1031
and it was
loophole.
Explained to me by an accountant, which I will not tell you the name of, and I do not feel like being responsible for something that is
that's
borderline. So we're gonna stop right there.
That's enough of a rabbit hole. I may have to ask AutoGPT about that.
Yeah. it has to do with, let's just say this. What if I were to 1031 exchange my final 1031 exchange on a Malibu beach house that was $20 million and rent out the Malibu beach house? And then 6 months down the road, I can't find any renters for it. So I'm just going to have to flip it to my primary home.
So on another topic, I should point out that if you sell a personal property, you don't have to pay taxes unless you profit a certain amount on the sale of that property.
Yeah, but what if you own it?
But that's a separate topic.
Yeah, but in this specific instance, and this isn't what you were saying, but in this specific instance, the property's ownership change, or not ownership, but type, the property's it goes, well, you're not switching any ownership, you're just switching what kind of loan it is, kind of thing.
Right.
And by the way, you wouldn't have a loan, really, I think, at that point for a 1031 exchange, right? For your final one, at least theoretically, that's the idea.
Yeah, in theory, yeah.
Yeah. Again, I'm not going to give you any more details, but you can look that up.
That's pretty interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, why pay the tax? You've avoided it for years, right? Jesus, now's the time.
Well, and I was going to say, a lot of people always say, well, I mean, what happens eventually? You're going to pay taxes on it eventually. And in theory, yeah, you would if you sold it. But what a lot of people do, and I'll say this:
oh, you die. I get it. Yeah,
what a lot of people do is they put the final one into a trust. They will it to their kids, and then when you die, the cost basis steps up to the current value, so your kids now own it without any tax burden. That's the like that's how you get ahead in real
Really?
estate as a multi-generational wealth building.
That stuff is smart. That is really
It
smart.
is. It is. And by the way,
Hey,
you're not dealing you're not dealing with a normal lender over here, and you're not dealing with a normal realtor here. You've
well,
got
no,
people who understand. Now, I'm not saying that you will coach somebody through it, but you know enough to know, hey, by the way, you may need extra help in this. You need to go
you know what
talk
I'd
to them.
do is I'd send him to my accountant that I know. And I'd say, this guy knows exactly what he's talking about. He's the one that told me to look it up, and I'm not a pro, but go talk to him.
That's right.
Look up the code. Make sure it's legal. I don't know. I just know
Well,
he told me about it. I googled it, and my jaw dropped, and was like, "Is this real?" It seems like it's real, but I'm not a lawyer, and that's not where I'm.
yeah.
They're not
But
gonna
again,
claim to be a pro here.
that's what I'm saying. And that's why I point to you and say this guy's not a normal lender, because you realize that you have limitations and there's other people that have higher level of understanding about things outside of your realm.
Yeah.
And you're not afraid to refer people out. Like,
No,
guess
the
what?
truth
As
is,
a realtor,
I
if
I
you,
enjoy
oh,
learning. Go ahead. Yeah.
no, I was just going to say, if you come to me and you want to buy a property in San Antonio, I can do that. But I will tell you 30 times, I don't understand San Antonio. You need to call Christina Carr or Betsy Flores. Like, I've got referral partners all over these states, well, yeah, all over the United States, all over Texas too, because I don't understand other markets. I don't do that. I'll get you into trouble if I try to sell something in Houston. My own
Yeah,
parents are selling land outside of Houston. And I'm like, no, you need to call somebody in Houston. I don't know the market.
smart, brother. Smart. What is the saying? If you're the king of nothing or the king of everything, you're really the king of nothing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyway,
good, good, good. All right. And so then let me see the last bullet point here. The last one was the future of mortgage lending. Digital mortgage lending is expected to become more prevalent, with many lenders investing in technology to streamline the lending process. You could just replace the word lender in that with almost any field
everything,
on the planet, right?
unless it is manual labor requires, human on site.
Even if it does, I'm expecting what's his name? Elon Musk is building like an AI, 40-pound lifting robot, right? You tell me that I can't put that outside and garden for me?
That's it can be done eventually.
Are the cops there? Somebody called the cops on you. That's what it was. You were just looking right now. You were looking
No,
around.
they didn't. For some reason, this rental car, which is a Jeep, because when they lose your rental car, they don't have one for you. You get to upgrade for free. Um,
That whole industry needs some help. From
it's
everything
bad.
I've heard on that, it's bad, huh?
Like, see, the lady goes, "Well, can you wait for 30 minutes?" And I'm like, "Why would I wait for 30 minutes? I'm 30 minutes later than when I had the reservation for, and I've got a reservation." I felt like a Seinfeld episode. Like,
Actually, that's pretty funny.
I mean, so she's like, "Well, we don't have it yet." I was like, "Well, what do you have? Do you have a Jeep Wrangler?" Mhm. And she did.
All right, well, that's it. That's all I got for this. So
That's
I
it.
got us through 28 minutes. I want to know what you did with ChatGPT since we last spoke.
Jack and Squat.
Really? Okay. All right,
It
good.
has it
Well,
has written it has written clickbait YouTube titles and descriptions for me that are SEO optimized. And outside of that,
but
I have not had
then
a chance to get back into it.
but does it end? Have you ever gotten it to end to finally give you something?
Not Auto GPT, Chat GPT, and Agent GPT have done it for
Okay,
me.
so with Auto GPT, I found that it runs in a very easy mode where you just tell it what you want, and it runs forever. But instead of doing that, you hit dash dash manual, you type in the word manual, and then it says, "What do you want me to be called? What's my task? And
Yep.
what are my 5 things?" And if you on one of the 5 things say end when you finish this, shut down, terminate. Okay, that'll help. The other thing is tell it to send you a text file. Save as a text file. Something simple.
I've been trying to get it to save as a text file, but it won't actually save it to my computer. I
Okay.
can go and I
I
can
can help
see
you
the
with that
file,
too.
but there's nothing in it.
I can help you with that too.
Okay.
You go into a specific file and you change some stuff. I can help you with
Okay.
that.
I'll have to
Um,
figure that out.
but long story short is that there's a few add-ons to add on to this thing, and once you do it, you can be like, "Look, this isn't working for me. I don't like typing like this. I want you to make an application for me so that I can type through the application, and clicking a little advanced tab on there and add all the extra advanced options so that I don't have to type them in individually, and it'll make the application in Python, which I didn't know, but it's a programming code. I think I did kind of, maybe. I know now.
I had no idea what Python .py is what it is. I had no
Apparently,
idea.
Python is a code that works well with others. So once you write it in Python, you can transfer it to Mac or you can transfer it to Windows. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the universal plays well with others code. And so that then will then transfer that into a Windows file and save it on my PC, and I can open the file and I've got an application. It programs. I'm trying so hard not to swear, but it programs for me, right? It's like unreal what this thing can do. It's worlds away from it being ready for everybody else. But if you have a little nerd in you, man, oh my
A
god,
little nerd and a little time to figure out the kinks. Yep.
I want to cure
Not the
cancer and make
kinks,
some money
you
off it
figure
that
out-
way. I think that's my goal.
Yeah. Yeah.
No big deal.
All right,
Easy.
guys. We're going to wrap it up on that. Next week, it will not be an all AI generated talking point. Actually, it might be. You may not know.
Probably will
We
be.
may be AI next week, and you wouldn't even know.
But it'll make a good hashtag. But it's the truth. It's the truth.
Guys, every Monday, 5 o'clock. This is what we do. We talk like we're hanging out in a bar, drinking. We enjoy. Gary, thanks for chiming in, guys. For watching this after the fact.
Yeah.
Ask questions if you've got questions, even if you got questions on Auto GPT, because I can send you the exact file that shows you how to upload it, but you're on your own from there. And by the way, Chat GPT will help you figure out Auto GPT, which uses Chat GPT to run Auto GPT.
I do coaching. If you'd like to pay me for a coaching session, I will step you through every step of it. Help you out.
There you go, guys. We'll see you next week.